So good morning and welcome. My name is Jacqueline Morosco of Spirited Practice, and today, let's start in a comfortable seated position. And for a few breaths, just focusing on the inhale and the exhale, and letting your hips become heavy on the ground. And it's not important how you're sitting, if you're cross-legged or your legs are stretched out or kneeling. We just want to have the spine nice and long and allow the breath to move freely. And as you're settling into your seat and noticing your breath, scan through the body. Start at the top of the head, and you're just noticing how your body feels. Do you feel tension in your face, freedom in your shoulders, moving through the arms and the torso and the hips and the legs? And as you notice how you're feeling, thinking about how you'd like to feel. And then very slowly, I want you to start to make circles with your body. So your butt stays on the floor, and we're not going for big circles, just little tiny circles with your body. As many of you know, I like to call this stirring the pot. And then you're going to stop after a few times and go in the opposite direction. And the reason I call it stirring the pot is because that's what it's doing with our energy body and our physical body. And then we'll come to a place where we stop. And then if you have tennis balls, I'm going to invite you to bring them in front and just start to roll your hands. And we're going for the padded part around your hand at first and trying to touch all those points. And you are adding as much or as little pressure. And as you're doing this, you're noticing, how does it feel in your wrists, in your arms, your elbows, your shoulders? And then we're going to, when you feel complete with that, stop and place your forearms on your legs and the tennis ball right in the center of your hand. And what I want you to do is you're going to take first thumb and pinky, reach in towards the center, gentle squeeze, open up, ring finger and thumb, gentle squeeze, open, middle finger, thumb, squeeze, open, and then index finger. And as you can see with my hands, as we pull in different fingers, other fingers want to join in. So just kind of exploring and doing that a few times with the different fingers in whatever rate feels good to you, just to use your hands a little bit differently than we might use them in our regular day. Now, when you've had enough of that, then you're just going to gently squeeze the tennis balls. And we're not going for like trying to smush the ball, but just a gentle squeeze. And I also like the feeling of the felt, the texture of the tennis ball on the hand. So just kind of noticing that. And when you feel done with that, we're going to set them off to the sides. And then bring your hands in front, and we're going to start to roll through the shoulders. So inhale, shoulders up. Exhale, shoulders sliding down the back body. Thinking about your shoulder blades kind of gliding down the back as you're moving. Inhale is up. Exhale back. Now we're going to stop at some point and then we're going to go the other direction. So inhale will be up, exhale like you're trying to separate your shoulder blades on the back body and come towards the front with your shoulders. And it's okay here to exaggerate a little bit as long as you're moving in a way, of course, that still feels good. And again, after a few times doing that, we're going to bring the hands down in front. And again, you're sitting in a comfortable position. You could have your legs stretched out. You could have your knees bent. We're going to have the hands come in front. And the inhale is going to be sitting up. And the exhale, you're going to walk your fingers forward. And remember here that we lead with the heart and not the head. So your head stays in line with your body. So inhale up, exhale, walk the fingers forward. And just doing that a few times. Again, you could have your legs straight and you're walking your hands down your legs. Whatever position you're in, you're comfortable and your body can move freely. Although for most of us, this isn't a huge movement. And one more time. Now, keeping your left hand in front, we're going to lift up the right arm and look towards the right hand, and you're going to inhale, walk that arm up and your eyes follow the hand. Exhale, come back to the center, and then do your second side. And you can make this movement as big or as small as you like. You know, you can take your arm way behind you, making sure your eyes can still see it, or you can just do a little bit, you know. You're exploring that movement through the arm and the shoulder with your breath. Very important to move with your breath. You can think about your breath as like a gauge. It lets us know, you know, what's happening in our body. Now, the next time that your second arm, I think for most of us it's the left, when it comes back down to the ground, you're going to pause for a moment and notice how you're feeling. And then we're going to bend the elbows and take the hands onto the shoulders. And you're going to open your elbows up and make little circles with your elbows. So at first we'll go back and you're still breathing. Then we'll pause and we'll go forward. And again, pausing, you're going to take your fingers, point them up towards the sky. I like to call this, you know, cactus pose. And we're going to inhale here and exhale, bring your elbows, forearms, and hands towards one another. So inhale, open, exhale, come towards the center with your lower arms. And one more time. And this time when your arms come together, you're going to keep your hands here. And then what I want you to do is reach your fingertips up towards the sky. And you might find that your arms are not connected, and that's okay. You're pressing in towards the center and lifting up. Then we're going to stop, relax your arms for a moment. One more time, roll through the shoulders. Pausing, and then we're going to bring the chin towards the chest. And just for a moment, I want you to send your breath into the back of the neck and the upper back body. So you're imagining your breath moving to that part of the body, and your head is only as far forward as it feels good. Now, keeping your head tilting forward, we're going to reach the left ear towards the left shoulder. Then you're going to roll your right shoulder. Continue to breathe. The head rolls back to the center slowly. On your next inhale, bring your right ear towards the right shoulder. And then again, we're going to start to roll through the left shoulder. And you're still breathing. And one more time, we're going to bring the head back to the center, and on the inhale, lift the head up. And pause for a moment, connect with your breath, and then we're going to come on to the hands and the knees. And so if you like a blanket under your knees, you're going to place one there. And then you can be on your hands or you can be on your forearms, whichever feels better in your body. The main difference is you don't have pressure on your wrists, and the size of the movement will change. And I'll do both. So you're going to engage those lower abdominals. Inhale is going to be here with a flat back, and exhale, you're going to let the back round and come into child's pose. And just inhale up and exhale down into your child's pose. And again, on your hands or on your forearms, moving with your breath. Noticing all those wonderful sensations as you're moving. This is one of my favorite things to do to help loosen up the lower back. So if you're not feeling any, a nice gentle stretch on your back body, you might explore having your hands or your knees a little bit further away from each other. Just kind of move and see how it feels. Now, the next time you come up to your tabletop position, we're going to stretch out the right leg. So your toes are turned under and you're reaching the heel towards the ground, and you're pressing your hands or your forearms away as you're stretching through that leg, and you're still breathing. Now, find your balance, and we're going to lift that leg off of the ground. And so at first, the leg is parallel, then you're going to bend the knee and press up towards the sky. And you're still breathing. And we'll take that knee down. Again, rebalance yourself, stretch out the left leg. Turn the toes under and reach your heel towards the ground, stretching the back of the leg, pressing away with your arms or your hands. Still breathing. Finding your balance and lifting that leg off of the ground, and then bending the knee and pressing up towards the sky. And as you're here and you're breathing and noticing how your body responds, you're just gonna be aware. Now, up here, I want you to, again, you're still on your forearms or your hands. I want you to swing your hips from left to right. And you're breathing as you move. And we'll come to a place where we stop, and you're going to come into your child's pose and wrap your arms around your legs. Relaxing your head towards the floor, either onto a blanket or a block or the floor. And just taking a couple of breaths. And noticing, again, how that back body feels while you're there. Now we're going to stretch out the arms and then walk the arms over to the right, and you're going to shift your hips over to the left. And then here you can either stay down towards the ground, or you can inhale up to a tabletop and exhale down. Only now we're moving at an angle instead of front to back. And again, inhaling up, exhaling down, or just staying on the ground. Next time you come down to the ground, we're going to walk through the middle and then take the second side. So again, walking your arms over to the left and your hips over to the right, staying down on the ground, or inhaling up and exhaling down. So again, next time you're down in your angled child's pose, you're going to come back to the center. And then let's come up to a kneeling position. And for this one, you might like to have a block to place your head on. And some of you might come down to the ground. And we're going to have the right hand on the back of the pelvis, left arm reaches up towards the sky. Inhale is up, exhale, you come down towards the block, turning your head so your left ear comes towards the block of the floor. Inhale back up to center and exhale down. We're going to stay on the same side and just moving with your breath slowly so that you're very aware of the head turning. And one more time. And then next time you're up, you're going to switch arms. So taking the left arm down, right arm up. Inhale up. Exhale down. And again, moving with your breath, being very aware of how your head, neck, shoulders, arms, low back all feel as you're moving. And again, we're going to do one more. And then when you're up this last time, you'll move that block out of the way and we're going to step forward with your left foot. So now your right knee is on the ground, your left foot is forward. You could have your hands on the floor or you could have them up on blocks. We're looking for a position that feels comfortable. And then I want you to engage that front foot and your back knee like you're trying to pull in towards the center isometrically with your legs. And then only if it feels comfortable, you're going to bring your left hand up onto your thigh and twist your belly towards that inner thigh. And you're using your left hand on your thigh to help open up your chest a little bit. And again, only moving in a way that feels good for your body. Still breathing. Next exhale, let's turn back towards the floor. You're going to step that left foot back, bring your right foot up. And again, your left hand will stay on the floor. Right hand is going to come up onto the thigh. You're engaging your foot and your knee isometrically towards one another and then gently taking your belly towards that inner thigh. Using that right hand on the thigh to help you in your twist if it feels good. Still breathing. Long, smooth breaths. And again, next exhale, we're going to come back towards the ground. And this time, and again, use your wall, your block, whatever you need. We're going to lift that back knee off the ground and step forward into a forward bend. Bringing your hands onto your legs. And now the inhale will be halfway up. And then exhale in towards your legs. I'm just moving with your breath, slowly keeping the hands on the legs the entire time. And on the next inhale, let's slide all the way up. And then once you're up to standing, I'm going to invite you to find your tennis ball. And you're going to roll through your feet. And again, whenever we're using the tennis balls, you're kind of deciding how much pressure do I want to put into that tennis ball as I'm rolling. And you're trying to touch all the points in your feet, including your toes. And then switching to the second side. And of course, you're still breathing. And of course, one of my philosophies, if you don't do anything else, you can roll your feet on tennis balls every day because it will help to reduce stress, among other things. Now, if you have 2 tennis balls, I'm going to invite you to take 2. You could also use a little blanket roll here. We're going to keep the heels on the ground and place the padded part of the front of the foot onto the tennis balls. So your heels are on the ground and the padded part of the feet is on the tennis balls. You could have a hand on the wall. And then you're going to move with your breath, bending the knees. So inhale, legs straight, exhale, bend the knees. So it's a teeny tiny chair. And for many of us, we get a nice stretch of the Achilles and the calf here. And for some of us, this feels really awkward because we don't generally have our feet tilted in this way. And one more time. And then next time your legs are straight, you're still breathing. We're going to take the tennis balls under the heels. And when you do that, you want a little bit of yellow protruding out behind your heel. Your feet are about hip width apart. And I want you to think about grounding down through the 4 points of your feet. Base of the big toe, base of the pinky toe, both sides of the heel. Hands on the thighs. Inhale is going to be standing, and again, exhale, you're going to sit a little bit more deeply into your chair. Inhale up, exhale down, making sure that your lower abdominals are engaged so that the low back is supported and that your low back feels good as you're moving. And one more time. And the next time that you come up, let's come off of the tennis balls, put them in some safe place where you're not going to roll on them. And this is a part where you might want to have a wall nearby. We're going to take the weight into the right foot, ground down through the right foot, and come up onto the left toes, or you're going to lift that left leg off the ground and roll through your foot a couple of times in each direction. Then you're going to roll through the bottom leg. Again, a couple of times in each direction. And we'll take that foot down to the ground, ground down through your left foot, come up onto the right toes, bring that right foot off the ground, and again, start to roll through the foot. The rest of the body is stationary as you're rolling through the foot a couple of times in each direction. And then with that foot flexed, rolling through the bottom of the leg. A few times in each direction, foot comes down, then feeling your feet on the ground. And just for a moment, I want you to move from heel to toe. So just moving your feet back and forth. Your knees may bend. Hopefully they bend a little bit. Then you're going to find your block. And of course, you can do this without a block. The block helps us to pull in towards the center. And so for a couple of breaths, what I want you to do, your feet are on the ground, connected to the floor, you're breathing, and you're pulling in towards the center with your thighs. And the block isn't necessarily going to move, right? But you're going to start to press forward with your inner thighs, like you're trying to shoot that block out forward. And you're still breathing. Then you're going to pause for a moment, and we're going to go the opposite direction, like you're trying to push the block back. And it's interesting doing this on the video because I can see how my feet try to help the inner thighs and the block move. And just continuing to breathe. And then we're going to stop that movement, pause. Your hands are going to be wherever they support you. You're still pressing into the center. And here, I just want you to shift your weight from one foot to the other. And again, you could have your hands on the wall. They could be out to the side on your legs, whatever's good. And again, we're going to come back to a place where our feet are grounded. Feel heel to toe. Connect your feet to the floor. Hands are going to stay on the thighs. Inhale is up. Exhale, you're going to sit back like you're sitting into a chair. You're going to take the heels of the hands and press them into the top of the thigh. Engage those lower abdominals. And then for the next few breaths, I want you to focus on your diaphragm. So inhale, let that diaphragm expand. Exhale, you're going to bring that diaphragm in. Inhale, expand. Exhale, contract. So it's what happens naturally in your body. You're just enhancing that a little bit with your intention and your muscles. And of course, if it causes you any discomfort at any time, you're going to stop. Keep breathing. Now, after your next exhale, you're going to release your breathing like that. And then you're going to inhale up and exhale, slide down into your forward bend. And we're going to do this a few times, coming halfway up. Inhale is up. Exhale, sliding down your legs. Still holding on to that block if you're using the block. Now, next time you're at the halfway point, you're going to bring your hands onto your thighs, pulling in towards the center, making sure there's no discomfort in the lower back. And we're going to hold here for a few breaths. If this doesn't feel good, you're going to bring yourself up to standing and breathe. Okay, so again, focus on the diaphragm. Inhale, expand, exhale, contract. Hands on the legs for support. Feet connected to the ground, thighs pressing on the block. Still breathing. And again, after the next exhale, allow your breath to go back to normal, and then inhale, slide on up. Now we're going to take that block out. We're going to make our way back down onto the ground, onto your elbows and your knees. And you could do this on your hands as well. And the movement here is going to be straightening the legs and bending them. So inhale while you're in tabletop. Exhale as you come into down dog or a modified down dog. And just moving with your breath. The arms and the feet don't move position. You're just bending and straightening the legs. Still breathing. Now, if it's okay with your body, next time you come into your down dog or modified down dog, you're going to lift your leg up, foot is flexed, bring it down. And just do that a couple of times on each side. And the next time your feet are down, bring the knees gently down. Come back into your child's pose. You can wrap your arms around your legs or have your arms stretched out, whichever way feels better in your body. And you're going to pause here for a couple of breaths. And just give yourself a moment to notice how you're feeling. And from here, when you're ready, and you might want a couple more breaths there. I'm just going to keep talking for a minute. When you're ready, you're going to very carefully make your way onto your back. And what I'd like you to have close by would be a blanket, a block, and your strap. And so in your time, you're going to make your way onto your back with the knees bent. And your feet are about hip width apart. And they're maybe, 6 to 8 inches from your buttocks. Now, what I want you to do before you start moving, I want you to feel all the places where your body is connected to the floor. So like for me, it's my feet and my hips. There's a little spot in the middle of my back that's not totally connected. There's a spot in my neck that's not connected. The arms, hands. And then with your breath, you're going to tilt the pelvis up on the inhale and tilt the pelvis down on the exhale. So you're just rocking through the pelvis up and down. And just noticing how that feels. Then, after doing that a few times, Your feet and hips are going to stay where they are, and you're just going to shift side to side. So you're kind of rocking back and forth, and your knees will probably move a little bit, but the feet and the rest of the body stay where they are, and you're just kind of massaging that low back using your body weight and gravity in the floor to assist you. Now for this next set of movements that we're going to do, you might take the block between your thighs, and you could do this without the block as well. And you're going to find your strap, and we're going to place the strap on the padded part of both feet. And then you're going to straighten up your legs. So the feet are about hip width apart. You're pressing into the center, holding on to that block. Your body and head are relaxed on the floor. Inhale is going to be legs away from the body. Exhale, you're going to pull those legs towards your body. And if you don't have a strap, you could have your hands on your legs and just do it that way. So inhale, legs away. Exhale, legs come in towards your body. And when you're inhaling, you're bringing the legs to perpendicular to the floor, not taking them like down all the way towards the floor, right? Just moving with your breath. Now, the next time that your legs are perpendicular, and make sure when you're holding on to the strap that you're not holding so tight that circulation stops. So your elbows are straight, your arms are extended. Inhale, body is on the ground and legs are perpendicular. Exhale, you're going to bend your elbows and possibly lift the head and shoulders. Inhale on the ground. Exhale, lift the body. Now here, you're just moving the upper body. The legs are remaining stationary. Inhale, body on the ground. Exhale, body towards the legs. Now, if that doesn't work for your body, you can go back to pulling the legs in, or you can just barely lift your head off the ground, right? You're exploring using that muscle group. Now, next time your head is on the ground, you're going to pause for a moment and notice how you're feeling. Maybe change the grip of your hands on the straps if you're using them. Now you're going to pivot your hips to the left, and you're going to reach your legs to the right, and it's going to be a small movement. I'm trying to figure out a way to show this on the video. So your hips are one way and your legs are going the other way, and we're going to stay on that same side again. Inhaling, legs away. Exhaling, legs towards the body, but at an angle this time. And the next time that the legs are perpendicular, you're going to come back to neutral, so back to the starting position, then shift your hips in the other way and start releasing them down towards the body and the floor. Moving with your breath, inhale away, exhale towards the floor. And another way to do this, if this is putting too much stress on your back, would be to have your knees bent as you're doing that without using the strap. And again, next time that our legs are away, you're going to come back to neutral. We're going to get rid of the strap and bend the knees. Still, we're going to use the block between our legs and just little circles with your knees. And again, a couple of times in each direction. If you don't like the block there while you're doing this, you're going to get rid of it. Now, very carefully, and you might take the block out as you do this, but we're going to bring the feet down to the floor. Feet, again, still about hip width apart. You're squeezing on the block. Adjust it if you need to. Arms are on the floor. Now, inhale. You're either going to tilt or lift the pelvis up. Exhale, bring it down. Inhale is up, and you're pressing the arms. Some of you might even want to bend your elbows and press your triceps into the ground on the inhale. Exhale, hips come down, where you could have your arms extended as you're doing that. And just moving with your breath. Inhale up, exhale down. One more time. Now we're going to add in those same movements that I love to do with the arms and the head. So the inhale, left arm comes up, hips come up, head turns away from the arm. Exhale, head to center, arm down, hips down. Alternating sides, inhale, arm up, hips up, head turns away from the arm. Exhale, back to center. Moving at your own pace, trying to synchronize the hips, the arm, the head, and the breath. One more time on each side, moving at your own pace. And when you're done with that second side, you're going to pause for a moment, feel your shoulders on the ground. Now we're going to look at the shoulders for just a moment. You're going to try to relax through your hips. Hopefully they're not too tired. You're going to interlace the fingers and press the palms up towards the ceiling. So you're going to relax. You could still have that block between your knees, or you could just have your knees bent. And what I want you to do, you're going to lift your shoulders away from the floor and bring them back down. So you're pushing up with your hands, lifting your arms and your shoulders away from the floor. Inhale, exhale, come back down. And it might not seem like a big movement, or it might. And just move with your breath. Now, next time that your shoulders come down, you're going to pause for a moment. Another option, if your fingers don't want to do that, is to have your palms pressing in towards the center with the hands not connected. Okay, so again, relax through the lower body. The inhale, you're going to take the arms overhead. Exhale, back with the arms perpendicular. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, hands pointing towards the ceiling. Now, the next time that the hands are pointing towards the ceiling, you're going to pause for a moment, and then you're going to reach over to the side, right? So what's happening, my fingers are interlaced, they're pointing up towards the ceiling, and I'm reaching over to the side. My elbows are staying straight. Back to center, and then second side. So again, this is one of those things that stretches the wrist in the opposite way than what we're usually doing. And any discomfort, your hands are just pointing towards one another. And then you're going to come to a place where we stop. You're going to undo your hands and roll through your wrists. Wiggle your fingers. Keep breathing. Noticing how your body feels. And then eventually coming to a place where we're going to get rid of our block. You're going to take the right knee in towards the chest. The foot is flexed. Now, as you're doing this, I want you to notice what's happening in your lower back. So you bring the knee in towards your body, your foot's flexed. You're just holding onto that leg and breathing and noticing how it feels. Some of you may want to point and flex the foot or roll through the ankle, and some of you just might want to hold on to the knee. Now we're going to release that foot down to the ground, bring in the left knee, and again, just holding on to the knee, the foot's flexed, or you're pointing or rolling through the ankle, and you're noticing how the low back feels on the ground as you do so. And one more time, we're going to release that foot down to the ground. Now our arms are going to be at the side. The ankles and the knees are touching one another. And the inhale is going to be arms come up overhead, knees open out to the side, bottoms of the feet come towards one another. Exhale, knees come together, arms come down to the sides. Inhale, arms overhead, knees open out to the side, bottoms of the feet together. Exhale, knees together, arms come down. And we'll do that a couple more times. And then if it's okay with your body, the next time that you inhale and have your arms overhead and the feet touching and the knees open, I want you to stay in this position and again, start to focus on your diaphragm as you're breathing. So inhale, allowing your diaphragm to contract. Exhale, inviting that diaphragm to contract a little bit more. Inhale, expand. Exhale, contract. So this is the same thing we were doing earlier in chair pose, but now you have gravity working with you in a different way. So still breathing. If it bothers you to have your knees open, you can bring your knees back together. Now after your next exhale, you're going to pause for a moment and then bring your knees together and the arms back down to your sides. And then let's stretch the arms out to the sides, knees in one direction, head in the other direction. Unless that doesn't feel good to move your head, then just move your knees or vice versa. Inhale back to the center and exhale to the second side. And so you can choose, you can do this dynamically, inhaling center, exhaling twisting, or you can hold each side for a few breaths. So as always, exploring what feels good in your body. And then making sure that you do both sides evenly. And then when you feel complete with that, coming through the center and checking in with your body. Is there anything else that you need right now? Like, do you want to bring your knees into your chest and roll around a little bit? Do you want to do a little legs up the wall or a little modified shoulder stand with the block under your hips? Does anything need a little bit of stretching? Just kind of check in, see what your body wants. And eventually, we're going to meet in whatever position you're going to do for Shavasana. So deciding if your body has had enough and what else you might like to do, and then eventually making your way into Shavasana. And of course, the most important part about Shavasana is that you're comfortable and you're warm. And as you settle in, I'm going to invite you to bring your awareness to kind of like it's to your root chakra. So kind of right behind the base of the cervix. And if you don't have a cervix, in that area. And breathing in and just pulling your breath down to the lowest part of your torso. connecting to the earth. I like to picture roots growing out of my body and seeping down into planet Earth. And if you're choosing to connect down into the earth, imagining that you're rooting down into the earth and you're pulling up earth energy back to you with your roots that you rooted down with. Letting go of any tension in your body or your mind. Again, letting it seep out into the earth. Gentle, smooth breaths. Oshadaya Samvadante Vadante Somena Somena Saha Saharanya Ranyate Ranya Om. So as your awareness starts to come back to your body, to the room, take a moment and notice how you're feeling, maybe remembering how you were feeling at the beginning and how you feel now. And if you'd like to do a short breathing and focus practice, you can make your way up to a seated position. If not, stay on the ground for a few more minutes. And continuing with the practice, the breathing practice we've been kind of using through our practice today, I'm going to invite you to bring one hand onto your diaphragm and the other hand below your navel. So a lot of times we do it chest and belly, but today we're going to do it lower. And as you breathe in, I want you to feel your lower abdominals and your diaphragm expand. And as you exhale, I want you to very gently, it's not sucking in your gut, pull in your lower abdominals and your diaphragm. Inhale, expand, and exhale, contract. And if you know how to use Ujjayi breathing, you might engage Ujjayi. It kind of enhances this sensation, this activation of your muscles and your energy. Just doing that for a few breaths. And this is actually a wonderful way to start to help strengthen the low back as well. Focused breathing, engaging the muscles in your torso and around your diaphragm in a different way, a little bit more consciously than we do in our daily life. And of course, you don't want to overdo it. So if you start to feel at all tired, stop. If it causes discomfort, stop. And eventually we're going to stop anyway. And then releasing your hands and placing them in whatever position feels good. And again, taking a nice inhale and exhale. And it's definitely changing of the seasons. We just had a gorgeous full moon. And typically, full moons are about releasing. And this particular one, where the placement of the planets and the moon at this time, it's the place in the sky according to, Jyotish, Eastern Indian astrology. It's the place of our soul purpose. So it's this time when it's ripe for us to discover or reconnect or continue connecting with our soul's purpose. And so for the few moments that we sit today, maybe pondering your soul purpose. And what's one thing that you might do for yourself today? Of course, you showed up here, so that's a great start. But one thing that you might do, that's on your soul purpose path. And try not to think too deeply about it. Like, kind of see what pops up into your mind instantaneously. So, taking a moment to thank yourself, mind, body, and spirit for being here, for doing the practice. I thank you for showing up. And if you'd like to join me in the 3 planetary healing sounds, as I like to call them, inhaling your arms up towards the sky, exhaling the sound Hu to the heart. Hu. Inhaling the arms out to the side, exhaling the sound Ah to the heart. Ah. And inhaling, scooping up from the earth, the sound Om. Om. Have a beautiful day. Again, thank you for joining me. Namaste.